Greetings, friends. There's a difference between romantic love and other kinds of love. Romantic love is essentially sensory, illusory, temporary, and also often volatile and destructive, especially for the man in a gynocentric society, and also for the psychological reason that men deal with breakups less effectively than women. So the good types of love, the love that are not so illusory, might be between your family, between your close friends, and also in a way for yourself. Not collapsing into narcissism, but a certain gratitude and appreciation for your own body, your own mind, your own talents that allow you to develop and grow in a unique way. We might also include companionate love between a man and a woman in these other types of love, which are not all the same, but are not romantic love, which is illusory. So let's just look at the symbol here of a kind of a circular image. This could be love between friends. It could be a working companionate relationship. You have two energies blending together. Sorry, maybe it doesn't focus too well. I don't know. I don't know how the camera's focusing. Right, that's the basic idea. This could include companionate love between friends, between family, something long term, something which has a timeless quality, something which is more concerned with meaning, often a working relationship for the future, something that's self-sustaining. It doesn't have to bubble. It can continue sustaining itself in any moment. It is just as full and fulfilled and complete as it ever was. These are the real types of love, in my opinion. Now, just give me a second here. Let's talk about romantic love. Romantic love's a bit different. Here, I would, obviously we would be using two humans. So let's say one is approaching from here, and the other is approaching from here. And now they're more and more attracted. Okay, they're coming together. Now they're very attracted. See, they've come together and they're continuing in this line, and they think it's going to continue like this forever. And they're getting even closer, even closer together. And then, pop, bang, kazam. And then, off they go. So this is the nature of romantic love. It's temporary, it's illusory. It may feel real, but it's only real in the sense that energy exists in a given pattern for some time. It's not self-sustaining. It's going to burn out. So I don't think most of this intense romantic love would last more than a few years, maybe only a matter of weeks or months. It does depend on the specific relationship. So I know some people are going to get angry and they're going to say, "Oh, how can I speak for you?" and they've had a different experience, but over time it just doesn't make sense to sustain this feeling. Romantic love is very sensory. It has a lot to do with chemicals, neuropeptides, giving you this rushing feeling. There is some overlap with sexual attraction. It's not quite the same thing, but considering how much it's about pleasure, there is some similarity with sexual attraction. So romantic love, it also, like I said, can be volatile. It can be destructive. It can lead to fights. This can be the big fight when the relationship ends, or there can be many fights. It's draining, right? It takes a lot of energy. It does not replenish that energy. if you've worked it into a companionate relationship, then obviously you've been able to fix this energy. But for men these days, I say don't even bother, because it's an illusion in the end. So unfortunately, it's always been this way with romantic love. It's always been this volatile energy. But throughout history, it appears and becomes more talked about, and then it declines. And this just seems to go up and down throughout history. I mean, if you go back to the Romans and the Greeks, I'm sure they had poetry talking about love, and they had certain gods or goddesses that would cause you to fall in love, meaning this diluted state of consciousness. And perhaps we can see it rise and fall, but certainly in the 18th century, for most of the 19th century, until the Romantic poets, who weren't really concerned with men and women relation, they were more concerned about nature, painting nature, but still, you might see that move towards gynocentrism really taking off in the 20th century. And but I want to say a word about how popular culture, like Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. He had this play that is it a celebration of romantic love? It's very destructive. I mean, Romeo and Juliet, they commit suicide. They kill each other at the end. So I'm not sure if Shakespeare is really trying to tell you, hey, don't fall into romantic love. Don't even bother. But again, how is it interpreted by the masses? Oh, they love Romeo and Juliet. They love it. They celebrate it. It becomes a self-perpetuating myth. And it's not just poets. I mean, poetry isn't really part of our culture anymore. It would be popular music. And I know it depends on the culture you go to, or the country. I guess I can stand in the middle of the camera now. You don't really need this anymore. But it depends on the country you go to. But I think overall, popular music, popular songs around the world the lyrics are focused on love more than 50% of the time. So we have a whole industry devoted to keeping up this idea of romantic love, that it can always last forever. You can always find the right woman. But if you're a man, think of who that woman is. She's inevitably going to be like a fertile woman with nice, cute eyes, and maybe if you're older you disagree, but it's think of what image comes to your mind, and can that last? I mean, the wall exists for women. They will hit that wall, and then does that really match up with what your vision is? So this myth in popular culture, often artists are trying to tell you, oh, it's not so great, but still, I think overall they maintain this, and then we participated in ourselves. And our gynocentric society puts forth this idea of romantic love, and it's a vision of love defined by women. So men who participate in this vision of romantic love, in some ways they are feminized. They are participating in that female model of love, very sensuous. It's not going to end well for a lot of these men, because it all comes down in the end. And as I may have mentioned, men deal with breakups and not as effectively as women do. That just for psychological reasons. And think of especially adolescent males and still in their early 20s, all those hormones, so that because of that relation with the sexual attraction that does often, not always, but it does often overlap with this romantic love. That's why those young men are so more susceptible to falling into this illusion. And of course, after the breakup, not just for psychological reasons, but for all sorts of other reasons in our gynocentric society, the men will be the ones suffering. So there's nothing wrong with romantic love. It will continue to exist. It always has existed. It always will exist. It will keep going up and down throughout history. Hasta luego, amigos.